Who lives in Gary, Indiana? The city with the lowest life expectancy, the city with the highest murder rate. It's undeniably one of America's most notorious places. Yet despite the YouTube videos to the contrary, it's not a ghost town. 68,000 people still live there. We went to see who they are and ended up learning about the drastic steps some are taking to survive. We didn't want this video to be just another hit piece on Gary. So before visiting, we got in touch with the mayor's office, which introduced us to Corey Shepard, a local man who documents Gary's history and offered to take us around. We asked him how Gary became a boomtown and then went bust.
Elbert H. Gary in 1905 chose this spot to build the company town Gary, Indiana, along with its accompanying steel mill, which was the biggest mill in the world at the time that it was conceived and built. Within 2 years, we had a downtown district. We had streetcar lines. One of the fastest growing cities in America at the time, and for a long time afterwards, actually. This was a booming steel town, and that boom didn't stop when the mill was built. It continued on and on and on for decades and decades and decades, up until about the end of the 60s. It was a racial tragedy, to be honest with you. Everything that happened in about 10 years, most of the city's white population completely emptied out. It happened very fast.
In 1967, Gary and Cleveland became the first American cities with at least 100,000 people to elect black mayor.
This has been one of the most significant campaigns in the history of our city.
Now, this is one theory of what happened to the city. The other theory, that corruption, crime, and economics destroyed the city, we'll get to later. But for the many with Corey's perspective, Gary's economic collapse and the loss of its steel industry were secondary to the racial story. How would Gary be different today if the steel mill continued operating at its full capacity?
I think Gary would have had a better chance to survive and keep a lot of its power if the steel mill had continued to operate at full capacity. But there were still people who just didn't want to live under the regime of a black person being the mayor.
Regardless of the cause, the fact is that white people did leave the city, making Gary overwhelmingly black, eliminating jobs, and crushing the housing market. Now, before we share the alternate perspective, it's worth noting that despite Gary's plight and what YouTubers show you, the city has a nice neighborhood with million-dollar mansions right on Lake Michigan. So this right behind us over here is the National Park.
Correct, the National Park would be behind us.
Look at these houses. I mean, that's a huge house up there.
Oh, hold on.
You're not seeing those downtown too much, huh? The Mercedes.
Yeah.
The Cybertruck. They got a Cybertruck right there. This is all lakefront property.
Correct. Brand new bakeries. We have coffee lounges, restaurants.
Still, just a quick drive away, you have this. So right in the center of Gary is the city's biggest landmark, which is this church. It's been abandoned for about 40 years. Wow. It's extremely eerie, but I mean, if you look at the architecture, you can see how beautiful this would have been. This Gothic, huge arches. Also, the size of this speaks to, the size of Gary, which at one point had around 200,000 people. Right now, it's got around 68,000 people. You check out this balcony up here. I mean, you can see this is a huge building. Think about what it was like when they shut the doors on this place for the last time. This is just one part of our Rust Belt series, and we're going from city to city through here to understand what these cities are like today, what they used to be like, and what happened in the middle. If you're interested in that, make sure to subscribe. We're going to Cleveland, Detroit, Flint, Kenosha, you name it. We're going all over the place. So please subscribe if you want more. So like we said, Corey and many others blame racism for Gary's decline. But just minutes after we left him, we heard the opposite.
It's our fault. It's actually gotten worse.
It's gotten worse.
It's gotten worse.
In what way?
The drugs, the property. It's more abandoned buildings, and abandoned schools, and abandoned houses than it is occupied. There's nothing here, but you know why? You know why? It's our fault. It's our fault.
That part.
It's our fault. And I hate to say it, and I know I'm going to lose my card for saying this, but it's our fault. When they try to put something in this city, we either tear it up, rob it, or shoot it up.
white people took all of their business somewhere else. But still, at the same time, you got the opportunity to do the same thing that the white man got the opportunity to do.
We wanted to know which perspective was more prevalent. Did people blame racism or the economy for Gary's fall? So we asked a dozen people, and it was a total split.
What caused the decline of Gary?
I mean, it was really simple, is racism. Gary was a thriving city, and once African Americans got their first elected mayor, you saw the white flight. You know, I witnessed it. I grew up on the west side. I had neighbors that were white, and overnight they were moving out, and they would even tell you they were moving. You just wake up and your friend Johnny's gone. And
That quick?
That quick, and they wouldn't even say anything. So you knew it was based off your skin color, because if we neighbors and we supposed to be neighborly, you know, you would say, hey, we're moving. They wouldn't say anything. They just left, and you saw it all over. And then, you know, you really can't blame people, because even myself, I moved out of the city because once I became a father and started raising children, I wanted to get them opportunities I didn't have.
So when the white people all left,
Yeah.
I feel like some people watching this, they would say, okay, so you did what you're saying the white people did out of racism. Was Gary started declining already when the white people left, or did
No.
it decline after they left?
After, because we're talking about the late 60s. The steel mills hadn't become modernized until the 80s.
You're from here originally?
I was born and raised here.
How's it changed in your lifetime, Gary?
You know, it used to be a lot of things to do, a lot of places to go, but as the years changed, people moved away, businesses moved away. The crime ain't getting no better, you know, it's getting worse.
Was racism a big problem here?
Not really. Not really. Let me explain. You're gonna have racism wherever you go. And, you know, I'm not trying to be funny or nothing, but you have black kids raised to hate whites. You have white kids raised to hate blacks. You're gonna always have racism, you know. I was raised in a family to where my dad was a grievous man. He got a chance to talk to, you know, all different kind of races, you know. That's how I was raised. I wasn't raised to hate somebody with a different skin color than me.
Is there anyone, given, you know, the lack of jobs, the steel mills cutting back and all that, do you blame anyone for that, or do you see it as just the way things?
No, it's just, you know, economy. What you gonna do? You know, it's just like anything else. Everybody make a lot of money, they let somebody else make some. They feel they ain't making enough, they cut back, and some people make some. So that's just the way it is.
I fault the mayor and them for that. I blame them for it. You know, they slacking on the jobs. Around, see all these abandoned lots and buildings and stuff like that. You know, it looks bad. You know, want things to come back, you got to build, you know, towards something. Make the city look like something.
I really can't say I can blame anyone, because political-wise, we've been going through this since I was a kid. Our mayors and all that, everybody sticking their hand in the pot instead of putting it into the city like it's supposed to.
Driving around the city, you pass through neighborhood after neighborhood of abandoned homes, businesses, and schools. Blocks like this used to be packed with families, like this one where Michael Jackson, Gary's most famous native son, grew up.
Now that's Michael Jackson's home, which is the only home we've seen in Gary with a fence. Right up here, more abandoned stuff.
Between driving around and our conversations, it also became clear to us that Gary has almost zero private economy. Almost every person we talk to work for the government, for a charity, or in the suburbs.
A lot of our residents work outside of the city, though. They work at the hospitals, they work in Chicago, they take the train downtown Chicago.
Now, Gary does still have some steel. However, the people that work in the steel mills do not live in the city. This poverty has given Gary one of the lowest life expectancies of any American city, just 71 years. Still, some people love their city and they remember the good old days.
Born and raised here, love it to death. I wouldn't change my life.
What do you love about Gary?
The way we grew up as your family, my family, his family, we all gonna look out for each other. That's been closed down now since the years has been changed. There's no more my family looking out for your family.
What was it like being a kid here when you were growing up?
Oh, it was great, man. Had a lot of things to do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things to do, a lot of friends, you know. Sports. Yeah, sports, all that stuff. It was a lot of stuff to do. Now.
Oh, high school.
All right, so we were driving up the street here and we spotted this soul food spot. We're about to dig into this and I'll show you what we got. Well, we got the roll. We got a roll too. I got the same thing. So we got some candied yams.
Oh, I maybe should have got that, brother.
Super friendly people in that place.
Yeah, everyone was really nice.
It was a real vibe. Cash only.
Despite Gary's problems, people continue to arrive, mainly mothers who want to move their kids away from the gun violence in Chicago, an hour away.
How are the streets here?
They alright, but like you be seeing drugs and stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
It's quiet over here, but you know, some like nights it's shooting, but like not every night.
Yeah, like in Chicago, it was like almost every other night they were shooting. Almost every other night. So my mama said she said we're gonna move, but we didn't take her serious, and just she ended up saying, oh yeah, I found this place in Gary, and we ended up moving out here. Like majority of my friends got guns.
Really?
My friends, he tried to sell me a gun, but
I don't have no friends like that.
I think the kids got guns.
Yeah. Like when Jimmy, when he tried to sell me a gun, I was like, I'm cool off that. I was like, cause you know people they be getting caught, but they be getting caught by the police getting arrested.
How does a kid like that get a gun?
Cause his big brother sell guns, and he just get guns from his big brother that he don't sell. And like feels a dirty gun, he'll try to sell it to another kid.
Many in Gary blame the people coming from Chicago for boosting violence, which is already at crisis levels in Gary.
We get a lot of people coming in from Chicago, which unfortunately some of those people bring their issues to Gary. Unfortunately, do have some violent crime that still happens here, but it's nowhere near the level that it used to be. Nowhere near the level.
The city's murder rate, 76 per 100,000, would make it the most dangerous large city in America if it had more people. It's also higher than any other country on earth. Between the crime and abandoned neighborhoods, Gary gets even eerier at night. Everything is dark. People roll through stop signs and stoplights. The only open businesses are convenience stores, pawn shops, and liquor stores, where robberies are frequent. While we were recording this video, just a few blocks from where we were, a man was killed in a pawn shop during a robbery.
5 or 10 minutes ago, if you ride down Broadway, a guy just got killed in the pawn shop right now. They just went
tonight.
Just now. You can ride up on 35th and Broadway, still taped off. A guy just got killed in the pawn shop. They just ran in that motherfucker just now and robbed him and killed him.
While that was happening, we were just a few blocks away interviewing younger Gary residents to hear their takes on the city.
What's Gary like?
Why would you ask? That's the first question you asked me. It's horrible to me. I'm not gonna lie. Anything out here is like the rent is cheap. You know, the cost of living is cheap. Anything else is horrible. The people, the buildings, everything.
There's a lot of great rappers out here. They really do this shit.
We're making a video on Gary.
I'm saying gang.
You guys want to be famous in the church right now? We pull up my church.
Huh?
Are you famous? Like, we're gonna give you. If you want action, just get like down Broadway. Especially now in the bars, you'll probably get somebody pulling out an AR or something on somebody.
Now, being in these places at night is a bit scary. Largely because you can see people have guns in their pockets. The people who talked to us wanted us to understand that Gary is dangerous, so they need guns. And because it has no jobs, they need to hustle. Many people sell drugs, like this man who has been doing it for decades and whose identity we agreed to conceal.
They say crime pays. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it is like people out here trying to work and do an everyday job, day to day, 24/7, 7 days a week, but they struggling hard as fuck. But if you out here doing, I ain't saying crime as far as robbing nobody or taking something.
Yeah.
You too old for that shit.
When you were younger, did you do that kind of stuff or no?
I mean, everybody went through their little young stage. That's a part of growing up. When we was coming up, we just robbed niggas. You know what I'm saying? We robbing the same niggas that's doing the same shit as us. We ain't robbing no Walgreens or nobody that's innocent people, no kids, we don't play that. We calling the motherfucker for 463s, 46 trays. You know what I'm saying? Or 10 pounds. And then, you know, but like I say, karma is a bitch. This shit real out here. So, just get you some money. You ain't gotta rob nobody out here these days, just get you some money. I love it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's a pound of weed.
A pound?
1 pound.
That smell, I mean, that's like, that just smells unreal. That smells unreal. Hennessy, some good weed, it's a good combo.
Let's give a few dollars, you know what I'm saying? Man.
Gary is undeniably a rough place. Few places in the US are more violent, poor, or neglected. Yet its people refuse to be victims, and they are trying to live the best they can through whatever means necessary. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe. We'll be back with a part 2 all about our experience in Gary at night. If you enjoyed this, you will love that. So thank you for watching and hit that subscribe button.